This is Growing Your Firm, the podcast for ambitious accountants and firm owners who want to work smarter, grow faster, and lead better. Hey, Growing Your Firm community, David here. Really excited to be dropping some recordings from our prior Growing Your Firm Summit. We had over 600 people register for it. It was in December last year. We're doing another one this year, but we thought, wow, there was such great content. Let's share it with the Growing Your Firm community. So this is a special content drop of some of the sessions from the Growing Your Firm Summit. Enjoy. All right. Welcome, everybody. The content does not stop at the Growing Your Firm. We're in lightning talk after lightning talk, and we're hopping between rooms. So excited to be introducing Darren here in a second. Darren, it's good to see you. You've been on the podcast.
Good to see
I've
you,
been
David.
following your work and your books for a while. Where are you calling in from today? Where are you at?
I'm in Bloomington. It's a little snowy, a little cold, but heading to Florida soon.
I was gonna say, I thought you also spent some time in Florida, so I didn't know
Yeah.
where you were in the world. So we're going from cold to warm. That's fine. Yeah, I'm in Pittsburgh. We just got some snow here, so I'm feeling the winter, we'll say. So all right, well, that said, we're going back to back. Our next speaker has spent decades helping firm owners build businesses that actually support the lives they want, not the other way around. Darren Root is the author of The Simple Firm and longtime advocate for designing firms with intention, not complexity. In this session, he's going to share 5 core characteristics that help you move from burnout and busyness to clarity and freedom. If you've ever felt trapped in your own business, then this one's for you. Please welcome Darren Root. Darren, stage is yours.
David, thank you. And thanks to Jetpack for letting me do this today. So I have 20 minutes, right, David?
That's correct.
I've never spoke for that little of time before, so I'm going to do my very best. So this is lightning round. I'm going to share my screen here real quick and run through some things. As David just said, I just launched a new book called The Simple Firm, and it's really professional's guide to professional freedom, essentially is what it is. And what I mean by professional freedom is just the freedom to run your business the way you want to and do life the way you want to. So I'm going to start out with 5 characteristics, guys. And the very first one here is simplicity is really a strategy for your firm. That's not one of the characteristics, but I'm just starting at a high level. Simplicity is a strategy. And sometimes when I say simplicity, people think I mean simple work. And that's not what I mean. What I mean is your business model, getting clarity, getting simple. Steve Jobs, once said, and I'll botch this quote, but getting to simple is really difficult. But once you do it, you can move mountains. And I believe that that's true. So I'm going to talk about 5 characteristics here in just a second that I think that you can implement inside your firms that will help you get to simple. But, I just want to state for the record, most firms weren't built intentionally. And I get it. I had a firm for nearly 40 years. And I started that firm and I just needed to eat. And so I took on whatever clients would come to me after I left Deloitte. And so I really evolved my firm very reactively. But clarity and simplicity are where freedom really begins. And the challenge for most firms that I see is that I think that there's not like this, this date or time when you go from being this reactive, I need to build revenue kind of firm to all of a sudden, I'm going to have this simple, clear firm that supports the life I want to have. And so there's no real point in time where that happens. And so most firms just struggle ever making this shift. So with that in mind, I start with this messy closet, because this is how I look at a lot of the firms that I talk to. And what I mean by this closet is, they're unclear on the kind of services they want to deliver. They're unclear on the tools they want to use. They're unclear on the processes that they implement for clients. And so they just have this mess, this chaotic mess of a firm that makes it very, very difficult for your team members to follow along. And that's where real magic happens. When you can create something so simple that your team can follow along, that's where magic happens. And I give you this closet as a as a contrast to that messy closet. This was actually a closet in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It's called Sarah Berman's Closet. And this was actually really a lady's closet, an older lady's closet. And it ended up in the Met sometime after she passed away. Her kids submitted it to the Met. They must have had some connection, something happened. But what was interesting about this closet to me, and I was actually at the Met taking this photo, was how clean she got her thinking on the things that she liked to wear, the things that made her feel good, the colors that felt good to her. And I couldn't help but think about an accounting firm. Most people weren't probably not standing in front of this closet thinking about an accounting firm, but I was. And I'm thinking, gosh, if we could get our thinking this clean inside of an accounting firm, imagine what we can do. So with that, let's talk about characteristics here. The very first characteristic that I see firms need to do to get to the simplicity that Sarah Berman got to is to really get focused on what it is they want to sell. There was a time in my practice where I was a tax guy at Deloitte. So we were doing audits, we were doing nonprofit work, we were doing construction clients, we were doing manufacturing clients. All those things I was largely, in hindsight now, incapable of doing, but we were doing them. I hadn't focused on the things that I could really do well. And it wasn't until I sold off a bunch of that work. I sold off our audit practice, sold off our nonprofit component, and I got focused on service-based businesses, and even more specifically, physician-type groups. And I delivered bookkeeping, payroll, after the fact cleanup, corporate tax, personal tax. When I got clear on that, we not only didn't shrink in size when I sold off that piece of our firm, we doubled in size because I got clear and I grew the firm. So most firms I run into have not yet gotten focused on what it is that they want to sell. So characteristic number one, complexity arises from saying yes reactively over so many years. And then simplicity begins by intentionally defining what you do. Bundle these things. I can't tell you how important packaging and pricing is to an accounting firm and how it can drive revenue and how it can drive clarity for your customers and for your team. So lightning round takeaway number one is a simple firm only offers what it can deliver exceptionally well every single time. Just imagine if the only services that you are offering were services that your firm was fantastic at delivering every single time. Imagine the clarity that your team would have and the efficiencies and the effectiveness that you would gain. So with that, I'm going to go to characteristic number two. Characteristic number two, a simple firm knows its who. It knows who it wants to serve. When you know exactly who you're built to serve, in my case, it was service-based businesses. And then over time, we actually gained more clarity and we started doing optometry practices. And then we started serving optometry practices across the country. And we did a lot of work for churches. But when you can get clear on exactly who your firm is built to serve, every part of the firm starts sharpening. So the goal in characteristic number two is to identify what your ICPs are. What I mean by that is your ideal client profiles. Who are your ideal clients? And the goal should be to get to 100% ICPs across your firm. Imagine what your team would feel like if every single client fell within your ICP, within your profiles. So lightning round takeaway number two for characteristic two is when you simplify who you serve, everything else gets easier. Characteristic number three, a simple firm delivers with systems. I can't tell. I hop on strategy calls with firms looking to join Better Every Day several times a week. And one of the things they struggle with the most is their tech stack, is their systems. They really struggle figuring out what the best technologies are to run their firm. So characteristic number 3, consistency really is the backbone of client experience and your team's sanity. So being able to focus on the products that you want to sell, your what, who you want to sell those to. In my case, let's say optometry practices, and then building the backbone to do that consistently across every single client. This is where things really start changing for your firm. And the goal ought to be to use the minimum number of tools required to deliver a world-class experience. So many firms have technology bloat nowadays, and the goal needs to be to scale down the number of tools that you're using, the number of tools your team has to use in order to create a world-class experience for your customers and for your team. So characteristic number 3, lightning takeaway, is a simple firm builds its delivery model with intention, not accumulation of tools. Characteristic number 4, a simple firm uses roadmaps to holistically serve. If you take nothing away from this session today, I think this is gold for you guys. And let me explain what I mean here. If you understand who your ideal client profiles are, so let's say that one of them is an optometry practice. If you were to go out to, let's say, ChatGPT, and you put a scenario into ChatGPT and said, I'm an accounting firm and I do work for optometry practices. And in this particular case, it's a 2-owner optometry practice with 2 doctors and 12 other staff people. And here's how much their revenue is, and here's how much their profit is, and what are the top 25 best tax planning and business planning ideas for this type of business. ChatGPT is going to come back to you with 25 things. You may agree or disagree with some of those things. You may have some things to add to it, but you're going to have a list. You're not going to have a blank sheet of paper. You're going to have a list of 25 things. And these 25 things, once you massage it, become the roadmap for holistically serving that optometry practice. Then what you do is you look at the things that your optometry practice is already doing. Maybe they already have a retirement plan. Maybe they already have a health savings account. But you're going to look at the things that they're not doing out of your 25. And those things between what they are doing and what they're not doing, I call the gap. And advisory services in a firm today is filling that gap. So this becomes a real process that you put in place. So lightning takeaway for characteristic number 4 is roadmaps turn a firm from being reactive to truly transformational. All right, characteristic number 5, a simple firm removes friction ruthlessly. Friction is just such a challenge in firms, guys. We see friction everywhere, whether it's how we collect documents from clients, to how we deliver documents back, to the 25 different tools that your firm's using to do different things. All these things create friction. Friction usually shows up in 3 different places, maybe all 3 places. Maybe it's in your processes that you have. Maybe it's in the technology that you use. Or maybe it's just in not setting appropriate expectations with your team and with your customers. I mean, have you set the expectation that every 1040 customer is going to digitally upload all their documents, either using your mobile solution or a portal to upload those to your firm so that you can begin the 1040 process? Have you had or set those expectations with your customers? If the answer to that is no, then it creates friction. Your team doesn't know how those documents are going to come in. So simple firms build a quarterly rhythm inside their firm for identifying and removing friction. I think it was Jeff Bezos famously said that one of the key roles he had at Amazon was removing friction. And I think that's a challenge that we have in all the firms that I run across. So lightning takeaway for characteristic 5 is when you remove friction, you start creating capacity. And capacity leads to freedom. The way I define professional freedom in my book, The Simple Firm, it's freedom of time. And the way you get freedom of time is by creating capacity. But then I go on and say the next step is freedom of money. It's charging enough and having the resources to take on the right clients. So the third characteristic of professional freedom, from my perspective, is freedom of relationships. It's the ability to take on the right staff that you want and the right clients. And the last piece is the freedom of purpose, the freedom to build a firm that fulfills the purpose that you want to have. So I know that that our 20 minutes has gone quick here, but if you want more information about the Simple Firm, you can go out to all sources on Amazon and download the Simple Firm book. But that's what I have today. If you want to follow along me, you can check out our company, Better Every Day. We're a membership organization. You can check out thesimpleFirm.com or darrenroot.com. We have a newsletter you can sign up for. So with that, David, if you want to come back in, maybe we can chat about that just briefly. Let me see if I can stop.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, thanks for this. That was wonderful. I think it just brought so much intentionality to the conversation of building a firm, which is, sometimes it's just about how do we grow, do more, be more. And then you have this hodgepodge collection of clients, of tools, prices, right? Of all kinds of, different service workflows. So it's really great to kind of take a step back and think about the intentionality of building your firm. We had a couple questions come in, so I'll kind of just start with those first. We have a couple minutes here. Charmaine asked, how do I decide what in my tech stack needs to go? I think I am overdoing it and not creating a system that is simple. So I guess, what kind of diagnostic questions do you see surface with the clients you work with to start helping them, determine which stays, what goes?
Well, so I break the firm into two sides, David. One side is like I'd call it, a firm operating system. Where Jetpack Workflow works. It's the system that runs the firm. It's the workflow, it's the time and billing, it's all those sort of things. And then there's the other side, which is production. So client accounting, tax, payroll, advisory services. Generally, I don't find firms struggling so much with which client accounting software should I use? It's QuickBooks Online, or which payroll solution should I use? Maybe it's Gusto, maybe it's ADP Run Wholesale, or which tax. Most people are using tax software, and most of the time it's legacy. So that's not where the struggle is. It's the firm operating system, David. I find, because there's so many different tools out there. There's so many different point solutions that do this thing or that thing. So that's where I see firms struggling. And it's because they really haven't thought about what kind of experience that they want to create. And every time you turn around, somebody's coming out with a different portal, whether it's from this tool or that tool, and it just gets really confusing for firms.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, you might have a system you like, but like you said, a new one then comes out with like, hey, now we offer this thing, and you start to bundle it. And then you realize, well, I like the product A that I got. Maybe I don't like product B, but now I feel like I have this bundle. Maybe I should, then you kind of, because things are changing so much, you're constantly needing to revisit. But I like your approach of like, what's the experience and what's the outcome?
Yeah.
Victoria had this question. Maybe you can unpack this a little bit more, Victoria, but she asked, would bottlenecks be considered friction?
Yes. Yes, they are bottlenecks. And oftentimes the bottleneck happens to be the partner. But yes, they are. It is friction. It's like, if reviewing tax returns is the bottleneck because it filters up to somebody has too many tax returns to review. That's friction. And the way you deal with that from my perspective, David, is you step back and you say, oh, do all these returns actually need to be reviewed? Because you have a capacity problem,
Yeah.
right? So do these simple returns really need to be reviewed by a partner, or could they come in and get out the door? So you work to remove friction wherever you see it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just creates frustration.
Yeah. And so much, there's this theme under there, which is like the simple firm is the one that really delivers capacity. Like right now, if you have a capacity crunch, you might be dealing with a complicated, I mean, you could be pricing, it could be pricing, like you just, and it goes into what you're talking about with your ICP, but you have a complicated firm with too many clients on too many different prices. And so it's hard to hire, it's hard to retain, and that surfaces in capacity. And so while and believe me, I'm super passionate about software and capacity and everything else, but like software might not be the answer. It's who is your ideal client might be the place to go.
That's usually the place to go, is like to start with, what should we be selling? Who do we want to sell this to? And then you can figure out how you want to deliver it, what tools to use.
Yeah.
Most firms really struggle with that because they built their firm over time.
Yeah.
And so they have a hodgepodge and there's no real time to go revisit that. And it's scary to revisit that. Nobody wants to fire clients because it generates revenue. But it's that friction, having the wrong clients, it's that friction that creates so many other problems like capacity issues and then team issues, which exacerbates capacity issues. And, we're living in a time right now, David. It feels like I wrote an article the other day on LinkedIn. It was called The Golden Age of Accounting. It feels like we're there. It's like we have more demand than we have supply. And yet there's technologies that are hitting the space like an AI that's going to help us do things faster and with less friction than we've ever done them and provide capacity. So there's never been a better time to sort of step back and say, what in the heck am I doing here? And
Yeah.
should I get the right clients? Because there's a lot of demand. Should I, increase capacity and use technology? So it's a great time to be in this space.
Absolutely. Final question from Jess. Any tips for when a bottleneck / friction are caused by the clients? I don't know if you've ever heard that before. Maybe clients not providing what is needed when requested. Any tips to deal with that one?
Yeah, it's clarity and setting expectations. In the accounting profession, we seem to be, I don't know, we're not good at having those discussions. We just as soon take the pain ourselves and not to actually, have to have those discussions. But it's those discussions like, hey, look, the way we work in our firm is this. We don't have that clarity in the firm, so it's hard for us to articulate that clarity. But if we create that clarity, then we can articulate it. And yeah, you're still going to have some clients that just don't want to, conform. Then you have a decision to make.
Yeah, yep. Those are the tough strategic decisions to make. Darren, this has been a real treat. Thank you for coming on. I encourage you to look at Darren's website, his upcoming book, all the materials he's putting out, the newsletter. Find him on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for coming on. We're going to do a couple giveaways here in about 6 minutes. I have a whole host of them. Dee is telling me, David, do more giveaways. Do more giveaways. I have such a big list of all these giveaways. But before we do, we're going to hand over the controls for 5 minutes to Anchor. They've blown us away with their support of this event. You've already heard from Tal earlier today, who shared about making your next tax season the best tax season. Now we're going to take a couple minutes more to hear from Elad from Anchor and dive into the product, what it looks like, how it works. So can we get Elad set up? And Darren, it's good to see you.
Thanks,
and,
David. Appreciate
until
it.
next time. Yes.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Actually, I think I'm going to take this one.
All right. We're doing a swap. Hey, that's okay. You're going to keep us on our toes, and that's fine. So we're going to hear from Tal, and he's going to dive into the product. And then I have, oh gosh, Dee, I don't know, 3 different giveaways to give after this. So stay tuned. You got to be here to get the giveaway. So Tal, take it away. And then after 5 minutes, we're going to flip it back and do some giveaways.
Thank you. Okay, so we talked about Anchor before. Now we're going to show you how it actually looks and how it can make your life easier. I'm going to share my screen now. And Welcome to Anchor. So the idea here, as we said, is to bring everything to one place, right? Instead of having multiple tools, everything is here, and we are big on simplicity. So the first thing you see is all your agreements, those active and those waiting approval. You can even click and see more information. You can see information about your invoices, and if there's any failed invoice because there was a payment issue, we actually reach out to your client, ask your client to change payment method, and actually we chase them for that, so you don't need to do that yourselves. But we also let you know what's going on. There's more information about your revenue, when you're going to get paid and how much. And on Anchor, you're getting paid within 2 business days, 2 to 2.5. So if you bill a client on a Monday, so click and bill now, or automatically billing them, money's in your account by Wednesday or Thursday latest, fastest in the market. More information about proposals, and you also have a reporting section. The idea here is to standardize your business so you can see all your services in one place. We actually help you to import all your services from wherever you're using them. But again, simple view, all the services standardized here. So when you create a proposal, you can just pull them and customize it for the client. We also support bundles. So that means one price, multiple services. And the amazing thing, it's also synced this way to your QuickBooks. Or your, so basically it means that instead of those services showing a 0 and the bulk showing the price, it's in the service level, so you can really have better reporting and know exactly which services drive revenue, which are loss leaders, and so on. How you create a proposal? There are 3 ways: from scratch, from a template, or in bulk. As we said before, we have the ability to create thousands of proposals for you, super advanced. Instead of you messing up with CSVs or Excels, we do it for you, part of the service. This is our proposal look like. I'm going to use one of my templates here. We even create those templates for you and with you. And again, super easy, one step, one click. We love that on Anchor. I can give the agreement a name. I can add additional contacts. You can have multiple recipients as co-signers, OCC. You can have your welcome message. You can have a welcome video. In this case, I have packages. You don't have to, only if you want to, of course. And now I can customize the agreement. So for example, I can add a small discount here, for example. And as you can see, every service can behave in various ways. You can, of course, have a description. It can be recurring, weekly, bi-weekly. It can be one time, for example, an agreement approval, or manually. So when you're done, you click and bill now and money is collected. You can, of course, have in stages if you want to do like 50% upfront and completion, as we said before. And you can also do, of course, ranges, hourly, unit-based, like 1099s. We can also automate that for you, for the bookkeepers here, by just putting an amount with your client. And as long as you build them up to this cap, system automatically pull money because the client agreed. With the integration to practice management tools, once they sign the agreement on Anchor, it can actually kick off those workflows and push the contact information and assign the workflows into your practice management. So that's Carbon Keeper, Financial Sense, Client Hub, and much more. Other cool things that you have here, for example, every service can be billed differently. This can be billed on the 1st, and this one can be billed, for example, on the 15th. So super customizable. And I can play around a little bit. For example, I'm going to add an annual price increase, automatic, of course, limited time discount and expiration. So now that's it. Every year, price goes up automatically by 5%. And of course, the client will approve that. But the discount is only if the client signs, of course, in the next 14 days. And actually, I'm going to make it a 4 months discount. And actually, it's actually a promotion. All right. Services can be optional. You can, of course, have your legal terms here attached. Of course, everybody loves to read legal terms. And this is the amendment mechanism we talked about. So the compliance, how you and your client can agree on the way agreements are approved by changes and out-of-scope charges billed by your approved by your clients. This is how our proposal look like. Your client will see your logo, your colors, your welcome message. They will see your video. You can also use Loom, like to give more personalized message. They can choose a package, right? Whatever they choose. And then they can select one of the services here. And as you can see, built-in price increase, description, everything is here. I'm a bit hurry because we don't have a lot of time, of course, but you get the point. They can select additional services and also how the billing is going to happen. The legal terms are here, including the amendment. So again, keeping you compliant. And of course, the legal terms are here. And this is how they collect payment method. Anchor is the only system that actually helps you collect getting the credit card fees paid by the client. And the solutions are they're actually putting the responsibility on you to make sure you're allowed to bill to surcharge credit card fees. On Anchor, your client pay credit card fees as a default to us, not to you. so you're not affected by that. It's a service we offer them. Once the agreement is signed, that's one of the most unique things about Anchor that no one actually has. Now you can actually manage the relationship, the ongoing relationship. I can go all the way to 2023 agreement, for example, and when I click on it, I can see in real time the live relationship with my client. Here, it's billable hours of bookkeeping. Let's say my client wants now tax return. I can just click edit, and that's it. Let's also increase the price. It should have been increased before. And let's also add a tax return. Super easy, as you can see. Let's add, for example, 2025. I can, of course, change it. I can add a note to my client. I can change legal terms, save and notify my clients, and I'm done. The client will be notified. And in this case, my client has 7 days to approve or reject. Otherwise, it's automatically accepted. That means the invoice will update and the payment and so on. So again, everything is super compliant and automated for you. And of course, the activity log reflects that as well. Accountants will love audit trails. So it shows your signed invoices, the changes, who did what. So think about a 10-year-long relationship. All the invoices, of course, here, probably there's not going to be any because it's billable hours, or they're all already synced to my QuickBooks. And of course, I can also edit invoices. And that's a really cool thing. No one really has that. I'm actually going to select a different one, sorry. Let's choose a better one. As you can see, I have a lot here in my demo account, a lot of demos we had. Okay, that's a good one. So here, for example, so not the current one, sorry. Never mind. So basically what happens here, like you usually see the upcoming invoice. In this case, I can, of course, bill my annual service, and it's that easy. Think about like a tax return. For example, I can just bill it now. Again, the invoice will go out, the payment will be collected. I can also, of course, bill on a date in the future or in the past. That allows me to manage things like billable hours and so on. But it's that simple. And I can also, of course, add charges. Now you see the upcoming invoice. I can add one-time charge. That allows me to make sure I don't leave money on the table. And it also saves you money because you don't have to send multiple invoices. You can just literally add a charge to the upcoming invoice. It helps our client to actually have less payments, less invoices, less fees, but it gives them a better experience. And of course, credit, because my client was so nice to provide them with a referral. So I'm going to give them $100 and say, thank you, Jane. And course, without a typo, and that's it. And that's going to come here. So super customizable, super easy. The client also has the same environment. We talked about integration, QuickBooks, Xero, Gmail, Outlook, everything you need to make your system works. With the practice management, as I said, once the client signs the agreement, it pushes the contact information to the practice management, assign all the pen templates, assign the team members as well, and your team can start doing the work. Super advanced. There are also other cool things here. And again, let us know if you want to hear more. We're more than happy to show you that. As I said, we can migrate from everywhere you use today to Anchor within a day or two with the training and everything on our side. We do it pretty well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tal, for hopping on. I could tell there was so much thought and so much detail kind of put in this thought process. You know, the increase, you get the discount if you sign by, all these wonderful features inside of Anchor. So please reach out to Tal and the team to explore Anchor. We have so much more left in the day. Really excited. Let's do some quick giveaways, just, you know, as we keep the spirit going and the energy going. So let's do a quick one. We're going to do a $200 Amazon gift card giveaway right now on behalf of Bookkeeping Buds. So D, if you could list out, you know, who is the winner of the Amazon gift card from Bookkeeping Buds. Let's go ahead and fake drum roll, please, and we will get that set up. Again, if folks will have questions about Anchor, reach out to Tal. Tal, if you want to drop your email again, we can make sure our community has access to you. All right, Caitlin Martin, you are the winner chicken dinner of a $200 Amazon gift card on behalf of Bookkeeping Buds, this wonderful community. I think Cindy's here, right? Yeah, Cindy's on. Cindy runs this wonderful community, bringing ambitious bookkeepers together to kind of learn and collaborate on how they can evolve and grow as operators. Thank you so much, Cindy. And we have one more giveaway. I know you wanted more, D. I'm gonna have to get
I
to the
do.
rest later, right?
Okay.
We're gonna do a Counter membership giveaway. So Logan Graff runs this community called Counter. It'll be 1 year access to the Counter community as well. So let's go ahead and get that teed up, and then let's make sure we have Anchor and Bookkeeping Buds and Counter, kind of all linked up. So again, fake drum roll, please. And we got someone. Terry Saracino. I don't know. I feel like with my last name being Cristello, I should nail this for you, Terry, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you won. That's the good news. All right, wonderful. Tal dropped his email in there, so please connect with him and the team at Anchor. Again, it's really cool to kind of see this platform and see the workflows in it. I heard about it from some of the folks I mentioned at Bridging the Gap, and now I realize why people have become so passionate about the platform. Thanks again to Bookkeeping Buds for your generous gift. We're dropping links there to learn more about that community, as well as the Counter community as well. So, whew, are we done? No, we're not done. We have more giveaways. We have more talks. We have more this, more that. Big shout out to our sponsors, Jetpack, Anchor, OnPay, Vinyl, Actually Finance. Be sure to check out these wonderful applications. We're going to talk about them a little bit more. What is the next talk? Well, the next talk is Anderson Peter George, $30 AI tools that build a $1 million accounting firm. It's happening in 3 minutes. Can we drop that link inside of the chat? You know how it is today. There's a new room for a new talk every single way. And so we're going to do the Anderson Peter George talk. We then hear from Dan Luthi. Then we have a whole another set of giveaways, conference tickets, communities, Amazon gift cards. So the link is in the chat. It should be in your calendars as well. Thanks again, everybody. We're going back to back. So I'm going to see you in the next room here in 2 minutes. Onwards and upwards.